Hey, my dear, and welcome to episode 16 of my advanced tutorial series. This episode will be about access transformers and reflection, and by now you might think, what is that? But that will become clear quite soon. Well, before I get started, you also might have noticed that there has been a long delay between this and last episode, and the biggest reason is I don't really have many topics left to discuss. So this topic will be about access transformers and reflection, and I also want to do one about dynamic block models, so models that animate. Static block models also are a thing I need to discuss. So, like blocks like stairs and stuff. So blocks that have a different model but don't animate. However, those have been changed in a big way in Minecraft 1.8, and I kind of feel like it would be a waste of time because we're kind of close to being in 1.8. So I kind of want to skip that and let you find that out yourself. And I'll probably do one tutorial on it in 1.8. That will involve the JSON system, as some people might have heard of. But yeah, that will come later. After these two episodes, I kind of want to wrap up the tutorials for the Minecraft 1.7. Unless there are topics I still need to discuss with you, and I'd like to hear what you want to know. These need to be general topics, though. They can't be specific problems you're dealing with in your mod. Topics that probably will be useful for many modders. That's kind of the goal. So yeah, one topic I had a request of is the RF API, and I deliberately didn't do the RF API. I did do a reasonably simple API, namely the Farmcraft API and the Wayla API, and I did those because there isn't much you can do wrong with it. With the RF API, however, if you implement it wrong, you could create all sorts of balance issues and crashes, and I really wanted to befriend beginner modders to do that, unless they are capable of figuring it out themselves. So if you're able to figure out the RF API yourself, which the API itself isn't that hard. If you're able to do that yourself, then I think you're capable enough to actually use the API. So that's kind of how I intended it. So no, the answer is I won't do a tutorial about the RF API. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get started in this episode. So today's episode is about access transformers and reflection, and again, you might not have heard or know exactly what it is, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. They are tools used in cases where you want access to something in Minecraft, in the vanilla Minecraft code, but you can't. And in this example, we're going to try and give the creeper a larger explosion size when it explodes. So I've opened the entity class of the creeper, so entity monster entity creeper, and you can see that there's an explosion radius. And if we do a call hierarchy, we can see that it's at least used to save to the world, to the save. And also here, create explosion, and we've already seen in a earlier episode that the entity that caused the explosion, the XYZ, and the explosion radius, and whether or not it drops items. It breaks blocks. I mean, block grieving, there you go. And you can see that this variable, this explosion radius, is used in there. So it would be great if we could modify this explosion radius. However, it's private. So we couldn't do something like entity dot explosion radius equals 20 because it's private. And there are tools for this, namely AccessTransformers and reflection. So how do we use these tools? Let's start with AccessTransformers because that's the most clean way to do it. AccessTransformers are a tool added by Forge, and Forge, when it launches Minecraft, decompiles Minecraft and does it does something to the source, and it also allows these modifiers to be modified, so private to public, and that's basically what an AccessTransformer does. It allows modders to add a file which defines which methods and which fields need to be modified. And, well, let's use that. It's quite easy to do, however, you need to keep in mind that private fields usually are private for a reason. So, AccessTransformers are a hack. You need to keep that in mind. But if you really think it's the only way to change the field, then it's a viable option to go for. So, first of all, let's go. Well, first of all, we need to know which field we're going to access, and that's this one. And this is the readable name, explosion radius. However, when Minecraft is running, Minecraft is being obfuscated. Fields like this are being hidden and have an obscure name like BO or something like that. Now, the MCP makes it so that there are search names, and those are names like field underscore. Oh, we've got one right here. This is a function search name. Function blah blah blah, and those are the names. The search names are the names we actually need to use in our AccessTransformer because that's the name that's being used behind the scenes. So how do we get this name? There are the harder option is when we go to there's a when you use your Gradle, it behind the scenes puts some folders, and it also puts your Forge source jar. It's also there, and if you look at it, you can see the path. You can see C users Martin, so the username .gradle caches Minecraft.net, MicroForge, and then the Forge version. And if we go to there, you can see that if we go to here. It's not exactly there, by the way. But if you go to the path, you can see there's a. If you click on Unpacked and then Config, there's a fields.csv and methods.csv and parameters.csv. So fields are like explosion radius. So those are members of the class, and parameters are parameters like this one, so those are parameters of methods. So this is a parameter, but parameters usually aren't deobfuscated. They usually don't have a nice name. Fields and methods, however, do most of the times have a nice readable name. So if we go to methods, the methods that's like apply entity attributes, that's a method. But we want a field. So if we do field, the Excel file should be opened. There we go. And we can simply just do a Control F. We can do a search for explosion radius. And there we go. And we can see there's only one one search result for that, and we can see that this is the field blah blah blah. This is the search name, and that's the one we need. So we could just take it from there. Yeah, you can see it at the top, the search. search name. However, there's an easier way. And if we close this, and there's an easier way, and it's especially easy if you're known to ASP.NET already, if you know IRC. So if you go to IRC, I've just opened up a. I've got a client open, but it's kind of private. Don't want to show you all my private messages and all. But you can go to AppsNet /public IRC, and you can just log in. I haven't logged in with a custom registered name. You do need that, and you can use Google to figure out how to do that on Asper. But if you go to #MCP and go to in a private conversation with mcput reborn, you can simply do GM for get method, GF for get field, or GP for get parameter. In this case, we're going to get an explosion radius, so we do get field, and we do get field explosion radius, and we could leave it just at this, but because there might be different mappings for Minecraft 1.8 rather than 1.7, we're going to specify 1.710. Now, the message will be generated, well, right here. However, it says you need to register your nick before you can use the bot. So if you had registered your name, you would see all sorts of info. I've shown it right. I can show it right here. This is the info you would get. So I've done exactly this command: gf explosion radius 1710, and you get all this. So it says it's the field exactly in the path net monster entity creeper, like we saw in here, net Minecraft entity monster entity creeper. BS, that's the obfuscated name when from the Minecraft jar. This is the source name, and this is the obfuscated name, the readable name. And there you go. This is AT AccessTransformer. This is basically the exact line you need to copy paste into your AccessTransformer file to make it public. So we're going to copy this because this is what we want to have. And if you would have to do it, if you don't have Asper and you didn't get this thing from MCPbot, you could have seen this. You only need this mapping really out of the Excel file, and you have to do public and then this path to the class, then that field you found in the Excel, and this is just a comment, so you don't really need that as far as I know. And you get some other info as well we don't really need. So I've copied that over, and if we go to our mod and we go to our source main, and then we just go into resources, we just need to create a new file. Let's just do that, and let's call it advanced mods _at.cfg config, and AT for AccessTransformer, obviously. It doesn't really matter what you call this part, however you need to let it end with _at.cfg. And yes, open it up and we paste it in, and that's all there is to it. We can save it, we can close it, and it hasn't changed yet, of course, because we just have changed a text file. We need to let Forge Gradle rerun our setup. Before we do that, we need to put in our build our Gradle, we need to put in our Gradle. We need to tell Forge Gradle that we are going to use a AccessTransformer. So I'm copying this in, and so this is the Forge mod loader AccessTransformer advanced mod _at.cfg. So with this, we're telling Fortunate Gradle to use an access transformer, and not only helps that to set up our workspace, it also should put the access transformer in the jar when we build our mod and we release it. And that's very important, because else we're accessing fields we don't have access to, which will cause crashes. So we do a Gradle setup become workspace, Eclipse just for the good measure, and I'll be back in a second. And there we go. So we should, if we refresh, not simply just this class, but let's do the entire project. And we have to open this class again. Entity monster, entity creeper. There we go. Explosion radius equals 3. Now, so notice that I forgot to show you, but when we started our build a Gradle run, you saw at the top it said found access transformer with the name of our access transformer, so advanced_ate.cfg. It's important to see that. If that isn't there, it probably isn't working. So you need to make sure that it says it has found that. So now it's public, we can use it, so we can simply, well, how could we do this? We probably want to set this as soon as the creeper spawns in the world, and there's a event for that. Oh, we've got an event here. Cool. We can do subscribe events on creeper spawn. I think on entity join. It's something like that. Let's do. I can never remember. Entity join world event. Entity join world event. There we go. So this is called, well, is fired when an entity joins the world. So we can do if event dot entity instance of entity creeper, or we could just make it completely harmless. That would be fun as well. Entity creeper event entity. And now we can access explosion radius because it's public. And we usually couldn't do that. So there we go. And that should do it. If we now run the mod, I'll be back in a second. So there we go, launch Minecraft. And there's our build of our last tutorial episode. And let's grab a creeper. I'm probably on peaceful, yes. Oh, we also made them. Oh. This doesn't work that well, does it? Yeah, we did this. But we can simply do this, and that will cancel it. There we go. Spawn creeper. Explosion size up to. Now there's another way to edit it. Edit fields. And that's reflection. And there is really a, well, to access Minecraft vanilla code, there isn't really a reason to access these fields. But for other mods there is. You might look at an open source mod and want to access something in there, and I don't think AccessTransformers work that well with that. Well, especially if you want to compile with AccessTransformers. If you look at here, you're actually accessing a creeper instance directly, so your mod needs to compile against that. But if you're compiling with another mod, the entire source of mod, not just the API like we've done with Thaumcraft. So say you want to hook into something with Thaumcraft, you can, well, you would have to compile against the entire source of Thaumcraft if you want to do that. Or you could use reflection if you know the field name or the method name or whatever. And some mods use this in their API to access certain parts of their entire mod. If you look at Thaumcraft, for example, I'm not entirely sure. Let me find a good example. There we go. So in the API of Thaumcraft, the Thaumcraft API helper, there's a method we can call from our mod, which is called isResearchComplete, and it will take a username and the research key. And you can see this is using some black magic to access something in the Thaumcraft code itself. And this black magic is reflection. So yeah, we can use this in, well, I can show you an example. Technically, this is just pure Java, so it doesn't really have to do anything with Minecraft by any means, but I'm still going to show you. So there's also a fuse time. I haven't tested this yet, but I'm going to assume this works. If you look at it, you can see that this fuse time is used to determine when a creeper has to explode, and also used in the flash intensity. But so I'm not sure what it will do when we change this, but we can see it should work. So what we can do is, first of all, this fuse time, it's another field, so we could as well use an AccessTransformer again, and I would recommend you to do that. But I'm just, for the sakes of it, I'm going to show you how to do it with a reflection, in case you want to do it with other mods or anything. And again, when things are not accessible, that usually has a reason. However, with reflection, it might be nice to be able to add something to a mod without having to reference the mod, really, like Thaumcraft is doing with its API. It's referencing something in the mod itself, but the code isn't there, so but it still works. Okay, let's get back on topic. So the fuse time. Again, we need to know the name of the Sarge name. So let me do that real quick. I haven't done that. Get fields. You can see this. I can't see this because I'm doing this in my RC clients. Fuse time 17. Oh. And it's field that. It's field. It's this. Okay, so what we can do is, first of all, we're going to try catch this entire thing. So there's a chance when mappings go different, well, will be handled differently, this will fail and it will crash the mod. And unless this is really vital, we can do something like log that warning, there we go. And we can say reflection on creeper fuse time filled. And let's also do a stack trace of it, so we can see what happened. And inside the try catch, we're going to do a we're going to get the class of the creeper. So we can simply do the entity to creeper.get class. And there's a reflection helper in Forge. So it's kind of a trick. Let's do field reflection helper get. Oh, find field. There we go. Class, and we do entity creeper class, and we can do fuse time. Let's just do this for now, and I'll show you later. This is not the correct way to do it yet, and do Java lang reflect field. So this is a utility thing in Forge, or FML still, but in 1.8 it will be Forge. That allows us to get a field. And a field, well, it's basically just this, only it's a field instance. So with a field you can see whether or not it has annotations, whether or not it's private or not, whether or not, well, the type of it, the name, whatever, and we can get the value. And we can set the value, and that's what we're going to do. But because the field is private, we first need to do field.set accessible. Although, I think the utility method, yeah, there you go. Forge actually sets that for us, the accessible, so we don't really have to do that. But you can look at this utility thing from Forge hooks into plain Java, so you can look at it how it's doing the actual reflection, and you can look up reflection yourself as well. I'm just going to show reflection to use it in more advanced ways in our mod. So we don't need to set the accessibility. If you didn't do that and Forge didn't either, it will crash and it will be catched by this try catch. Field.set, and we can do the object and the value. So we need to set, well, because we're in an object-oriented environment, every creeper is different, so every fuse time of every creeper is different. So we need to specify which creeper we're going to set, which is event.entity, and which value we're going to set. And instead of 30 ticks, we're going to set it to like 4 seconds, 80 ticks. And this should do it. And this should work in our development environment because fuse time is actually called fuse time as a variable. However, you need to be careful when you're building your mod and you're going to export it. It will have those obfuscated names again. So it will have BO or whatever. Luckily, when Forge initializes, it will transform them to Sarge names. So always when you're doing reflection, be sure to use the Sarge name and the normal name. Sarge name is really necessary. The latter only necessary when you want to test this in your development environment, which I recommend. So yeah, and I've put this one first because it's going to iterate through the all the names you're putting in this you're giving with this method, and because most of the times you care more about performance when it's in a built environment. So this one will be the right field to access. Short answer, do this because this usually is the one that's most oftenly used. So that saves the most performance. So, let's try this. Hopefully it doesn't say failed. Oh, there we go. A very long fuse. Nice. So, that's how you do it. So, this was the episode on reflection and AccessTransformers. That's really what I wanted to show. Also, I think I want to show there was another way to actually modify at least the explosion radius. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, also the fuse time. But we could have done instead. You might have noticed that this explosion radius is saved and read to MBT. So what we could have done instead is we could have taken, we could have done something like, I'm not going to prove it works, but might be a nice way to do it as well. It doesn't require any access transforming or reflection. You could do MET tech compound tech equals new tech compound. So we create a new tech compound. We write to MBT. We ask the entity to write its info to the MBT, so we are invoking this. Write entity to MBT. There we go. Then we can set. Oh, it's not visible. It's not visible. Oh, probably if we cast to entity creeper, it might be. Should be. Yes. Okay. So we write to the entity to MBT. So we write all this into MBT. We just alter this, so we can do. And we can simply do 0 like we did before. And then we can do reach from MBT, so we can do read entity from MBT. So basically write the same method that's used to save it to the world. We can save it to a tag. We just modify this one and we read it back. And that's the idea. This would work as well and might be the cleanest way really, because it doesn't really involve any modifying of the Minecraft code. But this might be a bit complicated. You might be able to follow that. In which case, nice. And if not, no worries really. This only works when a field like this is saved to MBT, which isn't often. There we go. So I'll just let it be as it is right now. Thank you all for watching. Next time we will be discussing dynamic rendering, block models. Yeah, if you have any suggestions on which other topics I could discuss in the Minecraft 1.7.10, let me know. If not, I'll be moving to 1.8 soon. So, thank you all for watching, and bye bye!